Oh, Monday morning. Can't believe that it is the 8th of June. Super crazy. So welcome, guys. This has been filmed live on Monday, the 8th of June. Welcome. We're halfway through the year almost. And in this southern hemisphere, we're into winter. And for my northern hemisphere friends, I hope you're enjoying your breeze into summer, even though you've been in lockdown, restrictions are lifting, and there's lots of other things going on in this world at the moment. So on the basis of that, if any of you have been watching my Instagram, IGTV, in Fogden-Moore, or been on my website, thevitalitycoach.com.au, thank you for engaging and being part of the recent posts and everything. So just before we get started, welcome to today's Monday Mojo Live. I'm Nikki Fogden-Moore. You're a high performance expert, and I'm here to help you get out of your own way and really help take that leap of faith into what your true potential is. So as usual, as part of this series, I'm going to try and keep this mojo about 15 minutes if I can. I've had some great feedback. Some of you want longer. Some of you are like, I want an express session. If you haven't already signed up to the full blog mojo that goes out with these videos, please do so. You can hit the description box below if you're watching this afterwards and head to thevitalitycoach.com.au and subscribe to unlock your mojo. Otherwise, you can just pop on there. You can email me at Nikki, Nikki, at thevitalitycoach.com.au. So what's been going on in your world? I can tell you that my reason for shiny object syndrome and how to stop distractions is because I think what happens is we get very aware sometimes that we can procrastinate or do things, and then as you start to evolve and step into your true potential next level, the little insidious voices tend to pop up. So as I said yesterday, if you haven't already watched IGTV, I will put the link to the video. It's a 4-minute video that I filmed on Sunday as I was doing the manuscript for a series of 3 books, the first in the series of 3 books, and I spoke about unveiling roadblocks. So really working with your shadow side. First and foremost, there is a very, very old expression that says, if you point a finger at someone, you have 3 pointing back at you. So today's express session and today's mojo is about pure accountability to understand the gifts that happen when we get triggered by situations, people, places, and things, because there lies in your greatest growth ever. So if you can fully embrace the shadow with the light side of yourself, the bits that really annoy you, hold you back, keep you stuck, then all of a sudden you can really unleash a whole next dimension in how you operate. So today's session is going to be how to recognize the roadblocks, unveil them for what they truly are, and a couple of tips and tools on how to actually deal with them in that moment and not keep carrying them around as constant baggage that just keeps popping up. I always say to my clients that your ego is, even when you think you're in control, it's sitting there quietly doing push-ups in the background, and it waits for you to sort of have a moment of self-doubt, and then it comes in and it pounces on that, and it really kind of, hangs in there, and it gives you, it's so clever, because as we think that we're really standing in self-power, authenticity, the promise of what we can create, the insidious little voice says, why would you do that? Or it distracts you when you don't even realize it. It's a subconscious saboteur. So triggers and roadblocks are often so subconscious we're not even aware of them. So as you start to unveil your journey and work in your own level of next dimension decision making, as you step into your creativity, as you build on the next vision of where you're going in your life and in your work, you'll start to notice the uneasiness that happens when you're out of alignment. And I always say to my clients, really recognize the feeling, not just the mental feeling, but the physical feeling of when you're in flow. Because just like that little gut instinct where you're like, I don't know if I should go down that dark corridor, or something feels odd there, that instinct, that's a feeling. It's a chemical reaction that your body gives you to go, this isn't right. Why do we not listen to that? And I said as well, which was really interesting yesterday, is that you can hear your ego, but you don't necessarily have to follow its advice, which is a really, really important statement. So you can understand your self-talk, but you do not have to actually listen to it and take its advice. So if you've been through the series with me in the past 5 weeks from Monday Mojo, you'll understand how to back yourself, the importance of insight versus hindsight, our inner saboteur, self-talk versus self, our authentic inner GPS. All those links are also on YouTube as well if you want to go back and have a look. And if there's anything in there that you particularly want to gravitate to and you want more information, just email me. But today I want you to consider what's holding you back. Because essentially, I know my own experience, I have all this stuff that I've created, but I never really promote it or talk about it or say, hey, look at these books, or I think I've got a fear of wanting not to sell or whatever it is. That's come from some type of programming that said, don't be too ostentatious, or there's a little voice that's always keeping me kind of in a safe zone, but it's a fake safe zone. It's not real. So nobody is out to get you. Nobody's out to get your abundance. Nobody's out to take anything away from you. But in today's society, we definitely live in a structure and a construct mentally that keeps us stuck in the fear of becoming who we truly are, the fear of stepping out of our comfort zone, the fear of ruffling feathers, of causing conflict, of being in our truth. So today, I want to remind you that when you're in your truth and when you have the truth given to you, it is the ultimate freedom, because then you have choice. But if you stay in denial and you keep in the stories, then actually nobody wins, least of all yourself. And that means understanding your shadow side. Now, our shadow sides can manifest themselves in many different ways. I gave the example yesterday of, I go off and I put a load of washing on instead of finishing a chapter of a book that I have a serious deadline on. Like, who does that? It's just because it's this tiny little saboteur, I think, this subconscious thing. What happens if I do end up finishing that? What happens if it is a great success? Where is the fear coming from that's holding me back from just getting things done? So if there's something on your dream sheet, if there's something that you're really, really passionate about, but you never really get off the ground, if you know that you're standing on the edge of the cliff, but you never really take that leap of faith, ask yourself, why not? And here are 3 things to do when you stop and pause and take a personal assessment on what roadblocks really exist. Number 1, you must take a pen and paper and write this stuff out. Keeping it in your head or writing it down your phone, it has a completely different cognitive connection to the difference between an idea and a reality, and diffusing a negative thought. Because just like naming your ego, mine's called Bob, it separates and takes the power back because it has its own entity. So the first thing is your level of awareness is that when you get triggered by something, or you notice you're not doing anything, or you feel a bit of hesitation or resistance, stop, don't push through that, and really look at where is that coming from. Is it blame, shame, jealousy, guilt, fear? Are you afraid to succeed? If that's so, why? What have you been told that if success is dirty, money is dirty, I don't know, whatever else? Don't be, too rah-rah, always sort of like let someone else take the higher ground. All this programming that just goes incessantly in your head, they're actually sentences that are keeping you stuck. So as you're on the precipice of change and you feel you're not actually taking that leap of faith, you have to stop and you have to have a period of self-assessment. It's not to do with anything else or anyone else. You are actually your greatest danger right now. Your subconscious mind is playing a clever trick on you to keep you in what you know, right? So what we want to do is shake that up a bit and not get distracted by shiny object syndromes, not get distracted by what's happening on social media, what someone else is doing, who said, she said, he said. It really doesn't matter. The best power that you have is to come within. Now, the challenges in today's world is everyone's kept so busy, they don't press pause to stop and have that awareness. That is your greatest gift, the ability to stop and write down what those triggers really are. I call that shadow work if you really want to go a little bit deeper. Do not underestimate how powerful your subconscious is and how it wants to keep you in the familiar. But the greatest growth comes from leaning into what is unknown, right? This is a rally of life. So you've done your awareness, you write down your triggers, and then, it could be, this isn't going to be good enough, my presentation's not finished, my book isn't perfect, who's going to read it, I don't know, whatever. These doubt-seeding little thoughts that just chip away at your confidence to take a leap of faith. The second column around that is you have to then assign an opposing statement to that fear and understand that you absolutely have the courage to do what it takes to finish it. Because if it's your idea, if it's your vision, there's an expression, if you can think it, ink it. Then all of a sudden you have a greater chance of bringing that to life. So in the quantum realm, just like quantum physics, if you imagine it, it exists somewhere. So you've got to be really, really careful where you're putting your energy. Do you want to put your energy and thoughts into fear, shame, being afraid of taking a leap of faith, or do you start to actually cultivate and water the garden of possibility? Very, very important. All great leaders take a leap of faith. It takes great courage and great conviction just to get started. But all you need to do is one step at a time. And the other thing I want to talk about is, I think, there's a real element of fear around doing the right thing, saying the right thing, fitting in, conforming, ensuring you're supporting. It can get overwhelming and almost information paralysis. What if you say is taken the wrong way? What if what you do rubs someone else the wrong way and creates conflict? So what we've ended up happening is we've ended up creating a society where people are too afraid to take steps left, right, front, and back. And what you have to do, regardless of what is going on in your surroundings, is own your side of the street. You have the power to create and co-create. Your individual skills and talents are required now more than ever. You can't be like anyone else. You have to be yourself. And that takes great courage. And that also means the awareness of what is holding you back and keeping you conformed, stuck, and in the imaginary safe zone, that you're not bringing your whole self into a situation. Because at the end of the day, what could really go wrong? Where is that fear sitting? So when you go through wanting to really do your best and evolve, what happens is we get what I call shiny object syndrome, or SOS moments. So you've got your situation, let's say you're me, and you go, right, I'm going to rewrite that book. It's 35,000 words. I'm going to rewrite it because now it's going to be part of a series of 3. Awesome, super exciting. I get started, and then all the distractions come in. I have to walk the dog. I should go and do things, or maybe I should go and clean something. Like this unbelievable amount of things that do not need to be done or do not even need to happen keep distracting me from my pure task at hand. And why is that? So I really sit down and go, what is it that's preventing me from completing this task? What am I most afraid of? Because usually we're preventing ourselves from taking a leap of faith. We're afraid of the outcome. And when you actually face that shadow side is the most liberating thing that you can do, because acknowledging it, having the awareness of it, and choosing not to listen to that is the trifecta for unveiling your roadblocks, having the fear, and doing it anyway. And we all know that book, Feeling the Fear and Doing It Anyway. It's so important right now that you as an individual access the tools, the creativity, the vision, the passion, the purpose, and the power that you possess. And that actually means ignoring old past programming and stepping up a whole nother level. And that's what I call the cliff face, right? So you've climbed up the top, you've got a great view, but you feel like you don't have a parachute because nobody else is around you. Now you've got to back your crazy ideas. Yes, you do. And that is precisely what makes you who you are. It's what precisely makes you a great parent, a great partner, a great founder, a great manager, friend, whatever it is, your 100% whole self. When we start to dim down those elements and stay back in the safe zone and not take a leap of faith and not make a decision and stay stuck in inertia, we're not able to access our full potential. So let's give some examples of shiny objects. Helping someone else do their business instead of building your own. Going and doing social media and stuff when you should be writing a proposal or working on some client work or reading to your kids or doing something that really, really is meaningful in this point in time. Going and spending hours on branding where you don't even have your content written. Maybe you want to get fit, but all of a sudden you have to go and do something else because ultimately you're afraid that if you get started, you won't keep going. We have to back ourselves. And I think when you put yourself on the line, you've got to have goals that you're going to fight for. And if what you're trying to do doesn't resonate with you, and if you're not going to fight someone for it, then chances are you're not going to finish it. So take that list that you've created for yourself, that have-to-do list, that want-to-do list, the stuff that you feel you should be doing, and really look at that and go, what on that list do I really passionately want to do? What on that list would I fight Nikki for my time to do that? Those are the things that you will see through. Everything else won't get completed because it's just a distraction, and it's probably someone else's idea of what you should be going, or you should be inspired by someone else. And at the end of the day, we have to actually be courageous to define and focus on what's truly important. And let's loop all of that back, right? So today's episode is about how not to get distracted. But the only way you can do that is by understanding also what you want to focus on. So if you don't define what it is that you want to complete and give yourself a timeline, then the week will end up rolling itself away. You must design a winning week for your masterful months and remarkable years. You must figure out a game plan, just like you would any other project, on the project that is best for yourself. So that means taking some time, writing it out, and understanding what the triggers are. A couple of other people have written into me since yesterday on Instagram, so thank you so much, and asked me some questions. And one of them, actually Matt, who's a fabulous author, said to me that he has a completely new book that's left field of everything he's ever written before. And for some reason, he can't get it finished. And I think, and he said, what do I do then? And I think, Matt, if you're listening to this, I want to give you a piece of advice, which is, first of all, ask yourself, why do you want to write that? And if you want to write it because it is a piece of you, because it naturally comes through, because it's a subject that's pure and based in your heart, and you've got something meaningful to say with it, don't let any barriers get in the way of your voice and what's important. And just because you've written 3 or 4 books on another subject doesn't mean that you can't evolve and grow as your own skills, leadership, passion, and intelligence evolves as well. We're all organic beings. So what we thought was interesting 5 years ago or 3 years ago, we've probably adopted new skills, a new perspective, and a whole new way of looking at life. That's what makes this so interesting. So trust yourself. Back your intuition, Matt. Do that book. Be authentic, speak from the heart, and you can't go wrong. And then you can always get an editor to look at it. But you've got to think, what do you want to say? Who's it for? And why is it important? And it doesn't matter if one person reads it or 1 million people read it. What matters is that you've put something into what you really care about, because you matter. And I think that's the other thing with social media and writing books and having stuff out. I like to call it the set and forget mentality. This is your journey, your content, and your style. So put yourself out how you feel comfortable, and don't sort of compare yourself to anyone else. Don't worry about the number of likes. Don't worry about how someone else promotes themselves. Just take care of your side of the street, because it's your own authenticity that's the most important thing. But we get distracted by society because we start comparing. I'm not enough, it's not enough. Two very, very dangerous places to come from. Polar opposites, right? But most people feel that either what they're doing is not enough, or that they're not enough. So when you can come in from a place of peace and harmony and know that whatever it is that you're doing and that you're already enough, you can't go wrong. So let's go back to that cliff face. You're standing on the cliff and you have to take a leap of faith, and you keep bumping into the same reasons why you're not doing it. Please go and write those things down. And it could be certain people. It could be that you feel, slightly embarrassed or exposed or vulnerable to come out with something when you've been known for a certain style or a certain job or a certain voice before. And you could be completely changing how you think, feel, and want to communicate. That is your sovereign right. You run your own side of the streets, but you have to recognize where your fears are coming from. Because if you don't recognize your fears, you have no way of coming up with a tactical way of actually just letting those go. And some things, I think, I think when I'm talking with leaders as well, is that we realize how benign a lot of the stories in our head are, but we don't even realize that that's been the framework for our decision making. Someone else's expectations have been the framework for how you've been making your decisions. It's time to take the reins back. What are your decision making frameworks? And that comes down to A, does this resonate with you? B, is it relevant to you? Does it really light you up? It might be inspired by someone else, but is this goal relevant to you? And C, is it something that is in real time, right? So can you actually get a start, wrap your teeth into it, get some movement going, and just take one step? Because if we make things too big and too grand and we can't get any traction, then we start to lose confidence and we back out of our own deal. So make a deal with yourself today. No distractions, no shiny objects. What is it that you really want to go after? What message, what project, what people, what place, what thing, whatever it is, write it down and then identify the roadblocks that keep popping up every time you try and go and complete that project, right? So does it resonate with you? Is it relevant? And are you able to kickstart this in real time? 3 hours of goal setting for your decision making. And lastly, but not least, I guess the most important message is today is you can't do a rally of life without the speed wobbles. You can't do a rally of life without getting stuck in quicksand. You can't do this rally of life without going, holy, this is just like overwhelming. That's just life, right? We get so much thrown at us. So it's your ability to navigate through these challenges and to understand and discern the difference between self-talk and self that will give you a grounded, a centered, and a peaceful place to go through and really, really enjoy this journey. So I say suit up, grab your pet crew, define your roadmap, figure out your destination, and get uber focused, because nobody can take that away from you. And you've got to enjoy the speed bumps along the way. I said to one of my clients yesterday, you know, things don't go wrong at 1 p.m. on Friday according to an agenda. Your emotions and your feelings have an agenda of their own. So listen to your body. Listen to your thoughts. Be totally conscious and aware. Get off autopilot and get into your day, because the conversations that you have with yourself are the most important ones at all. And I hope today I've encouraged you to really stay focused, to understand that what you think about expands, to write down the triggers, the traps, the fears, the things that give you the real feeling of, oh my God, am I really going to do this? Those are important things. You have to lean into those. You have to understand them. You have to embrace them, because there lies in your greatest power of all, to really discover the stuff that was holding you back, and you can let that baggage go and go forward with a greater understanding of what your old programs were, and you can rewrite the script for your new one. So you are in the driver's seat. You're a leader. It doesn't matter if you're watching this and you're starting your own business, if you're finishing university, if you're exiting a company, you've done a management buyout, you're a multi-millionaire, or you've just got $200 in the bank. All of us are leaders, and that's what society is calling for today, is that you take care of your own side of your street, that instead of being worried about trying to exhibit qualities of values, focus, and compassion, you actually have those for yourself. Because if all of us can do that, then the ripple effect of that is far greater than we can ever imagine. So go within, practice all those things yourself, focus, compassion, understanding, and awareness for your own conversations, and just make sure that what you do is authentic. Back yourself, take a leap of faith, because when we do take leaps of faith, funnily enough, the universe seems to sweep in and put some wind beneath our wings, whether it's a person or it's an opportunity, but the yellow brick road always unfails. So stay centered, stay grounded, take time out for yourself, and don't get swayed by anyone else's opinions, because you matter and you have to be your authentic self. And I hope today's Monday Mojo reminded you that SOS and distractions are purely there to take you off course. So you have to be aware of what those are, but you don't have to buy into them. All right, so questions, please come on and maybe leave a comment below in the description box. I'll put the details on here when this goes live on the upload. Vitality Coach TV, please like and subscribe and share. I've also got hundreds of podcasts and some really cool guest interviews. I'd love you to come and subscribe on the Mojo Maker podcast. And if you need anything at all, please email me, Nikki at thevitalitycoach.com.au. Sign up to Monday Mojo Live for Mondays on the blog. And thank you for tuning in. And most of all, you are in the driver's seat, right? So stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, because this life ain't a dress rehearsal. It's really happening. So suit up. It's going to be a great journey, and don't be afraid of all the fear and the mongering and the kind of subconscious distractions. Stay centered, because you've got this, and the most important asset of all is investing in yourself. Hope that helped. Thank you for tuning in to Monday Mojo. Short and sweet, 25 minutes, so a little bit over 15, but that's okay. And I want to do a special shout out for the clients that I'm working with at the moment that are doing extraordinary things in unprecedented times and leading their cultures and communities with such grace. It's exciting to be beside you as you navigate this new landscape for business and leadership. And I'm exceptionally proud of the skills that you're implementing. So be well, guys. Stay cool, and come join me next time. I'm Nikki Fogden-Moore, and thank you for tuning in to my little ramblings for Monday Mojo, filmed today on the 8th of June in the Sunshine Coast in Australia. Wherever you are in the world, take great care of yourself, because you matter.